Sweeter from every spot on an iron. Is that even possible? Let's check this out next. Welcome back to the golf shop. Jim McCleary here, 7-time Golf Digest Best America's Club Fitter. And we're going to be talking about the Callaway's new AI Smoke line. Before we do that, if you would, like, subscribe, hit all that stuff across the bottom so this information gets out to the YouTube universe. Also join us for our live streams that are on Monday, 5:30 or 17:30 Eastern Time on YouTube, Facebook, X. All right, you'll enjoy it. It's the same stuff, just talking to me live. All right, so we've done a bunch of irons, right? We've done the Cleveland. That was quite a surprise. We've done the Mizuno. It was a very good club and not a surprise. and now we've got these, right? And we're waiting on one more. We're waiting on Wilson to come in, and they should be here soon. So I'm starting with the irons first, get the swing going, and then we're going to get into the hybrids and the woods and that kind of stuff so that you get a better look from a club maker, club fitter perspective instead of just a swing professional's perspective. All right, AI Smoke. AI Smoke, obviously artificial intelligence. Everybody's jumping on this bandwagon. Lots of computers, thousands of shots, and all that stuff. Okay, well, as far as I know, Callaway did this first. They got a supercomputer. I don't know how many other ones did, but they got a supercomputer. They got experts looking at it. And for the last 4 or 5 years, they've been talking about all the technology wrapped up into it and the fact that there's this face that the computer's been working on. This year, they say 250,000 shots all over the planet. We're going to make a face that is the best, most forgiving face on the planet, right? And so this is running around. And what this is kind of it's just a advertising thing to show you what's going on. And of course, in the heel and the toe is where the biggest gains are received. Now, that's the same thing for this guy right here. And what they're talking about is, on a normal iron, it would only go X distance. What they're saying is now with this face, it will go X distance plus whatever yards they say. In the driver, it's plus 12 and plus 11, toe and heel. So does that mean that all the other technology has been removed? No, it has not. They still have a big weight down here at the bottom. They still have the AI face. This is a hollow body. Okay, hollow bodies are going to be very popular. All right, very popular this year because, well, they work. Why do they work? Well, they have, number one, they have a good cosmetic appearance. They have that blade look in the bag. You know, we all want to look cool with the blade look. And then it has the perimeter weighted forgiveness that most of us, or if not all of us, need, right? So this is the AI Smoke has a very little offset. To me, has a compact look at a dress, okay? It also has in the sole what they call the pre-worn grind. And what that is right in the front of this, in the leading edge, there's basically a scallop so that the whole club's not a digger, that it gives you better turf interaction. Now, the tail end and the leading edge are both rounded, and the middle is a little flatter for better turf interaction. The top line is tapered downward away from the leading edge to give it a smaller appearance. Now, if you were to tilt it correctly, it would look just like the typical Callaway top line, but they're trying to make it look smaller, and so that's what it is. The club's a little stronger, so we expect to go a little further. I really have high hopes for this one. The two remaining are the Smoke High Launch, or HL, and the other one is Smoke High Launch Fast. Now, the difference is that this is the High Launch, a traditional look, right? It's a traditional look in an iron, right? It's a big cavity back, lots of weight down at the bottom, a little longer in the sole, more offset and wider in the sole. Now, if you look at this one, the trailing edge is really chamfered off quite a bit. It still has kind of a pre-worn look to it, but it is wider. So This one has a lot of uses for, say, the beginning golfer, or the golfer that takes a huge divot, or the golfer trying to help with remove some of that slicing that's going on. This will be that kind of guy. Now there's a lot of weight down here in the bottom, just like in the other one, but this is more worked into the club, and yet you can see it. Yes, it also has the face, so that'll be more forgiving. Now what is the fast? The fast is basically the same thing, only lighter, right? So the idea here is that if it's lighter, you're going to gain some swing speed, you're going to get some distance back the whole 9 yards. So who is that for? Well, older golfers or even younger golfers, right? You get into those tweeners, what I call in the early teenage years, that just haven't quite got that muscle development going on, and this could be a very, very good club for them. So keep that in mind when we go out there. Okay, so what I'm using in this one is an Elevate 95. Elevate 95, and I'm putting in an R-Flex. All the other stuff I've been trying has been R-Flex, so I figured let's keep it the same way. So before we go to the shop. And I measure length. That's the first thing I look for. And when I'm going through the information that the Callaway folks provide, in the high launch and in the smoke, they talk about eking up the length a little bit. So in the high launch, I got a 37.5-inch 7-iron, which is a half an inch long in my book. On the other one, I got 37.25. Now, if you read their information, that's correct. Okay, that's correct by their standard. Personally, I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of making clubs longer for just the idea that you're going to hit it further. I believe that couldn't be anything further from the truth. The quality of your impact is what's really going to guide this. And if your club is too long, you have the capability of hitting it fat. If it's too short, you have the capability of hitting it thin. Those are the easy ones. Now, if you're a taller person or you swing up and out, maybe that's just the way it goes, and we want that kind of thing. However, that's where you gotta really go get fit. Go get fit for the length, the lie angles, your set makeup, grip size, weight of the club, the whole 9 yards, and just so that you enjoy golf and your scores could go low. All right, so what else did we measure? Well, we measured frequency. The Elevate 95 is a very butt soft shaft, all right? And because of that, if you put in a frequency machine, it's going to come out light. And it did, right? It came out light. It came out well below the regular range. So what does that mean? Smoother golfers could really, really like this club. I don't consider myself to be very aggressive, but my left hand, which is the hand that makes me pull, can get into it a little bit more. I think I can, hit this thing without it going way right or left on me. So we're going to use it. I think it's going to be fun. All right. So what else did we get? Well, we got the specs, and the loft on the AI Smoke was 28, where the high launch was 31. So if everything is right in the world, the Smoke should go a lot further than the HL. And then the lie angles were within a half of a degree with each other. So we're looking pretty decent, even for, these are demo irons. So for demo irons, these aren't too bad. They're well within the spec. We're doing a lot of good here. So let's go hit them. Okay, so here we are with the Smoke HL, and I have got 10 hits apiece, I believe. Yep, 10 shots. So let's see how this one went. Flew out. Of course, I expected to go to my inside. Fairly tight pattern, even if it is to the inside. And if you look, the distances aren't really radically bad, or, I'm not like a bunch of seesaws or a sawtooth. They're very, very close to one another. Not too bad at all. Okay, the Smoke HL, or the regular Smoke. This thing, this one over here is a little bit tragic, but it was a big pull. I wanted to leave that in there to show you. Again, if you look here, I'm more towards the center. Not as tight as the HL, but we're going to see what that means here in just a little bit. All right, so if we were to get into a grouping here, the Smoke HL looks a little tighter, but the only reason why is because this guy right here is way out there. And I'm just leaving it out there to show you guys what it's going to look like when we're all done. So if we look at, again, the Smoke, if you look, here's the center line. Quite a few on the center within the 10-yard mark. Matter of fact, only 2 of them really. If we go to the HL, 1, 2, 3, 4 are in, and the 5, the rest are kind of a pullish nature. of which I expect, and we're going to try and keep 5. So I'm going to keep these 5 right here because these are, well, let's go back and I'm going to show you. So if we look up in here, this is where I was hitting it with a standard length, and I was hitting it fat. And then I turned around, I choked down, and I hit these. Then I went back to the normal, and there it was. It came right back again. So again, there is something to be said about length. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys that before we started modifying stuff. So here we go. Let's take out that one, and we're going to take out that one, and we're going to take out that one, and we're going to take out that one, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that one. So there we go with that one, right? Now let's go back to this guy. Now I want to show you this one just because it's a bomb is what it is. That's the 6th one, or the 4th shot. We're going to go back and we're going to look at this one. Almost a 180 shot with a 7-iron, but it's a tremendous pull. So that is it's a great shot, haha, but it's a pull, and I would just much like a false negative, I'm going to call this one a false positive, and I'm going to take that one out. All right, so we're going to go for these guys right here and see what we can find with that. So we're going to get that one. We're going to keep, all right, one more. That one. So there you go. It doesn't look nearly as tight, but it's more center line. So that's what we're looking at. So if we go back and we look, and again, when we did the comparison, I looked earlier, this was more of a 175, 178, where this is 164 to 165. Taking out a couple of those really bad shots, and my smash factors were way off as well. So what do we now have? Those are what you saw me take them out. Those are basically the best shots left in the bag. So we're looking at 172, 173 versus 167, 170. Now this is not unexpected, right? Because this club is much, much stronger than this one. This one was much straighter, where we knew that this one was going to be to the right. We're talking about a 1.5 miles difference, so it's not making up that, and I'm hitting them about the same. A 137 smash factor with a 7-iron actually is pretty good. And my spin rates, almost 6,000 with as strong as that is, and just at 5,000, I will say it's average. It's not outside, or it's not the top end or low end. I think that's right down the middle. Classification is straight, where the other one's a fade, although this thing thinks I'm right-handed instead of left-handed. My angles of attack are in pretty decent shape. Now let's go back and take another look. So there we go. A little tight pattern, but it's between 10 yards and 20 yards, where this guy is a little bit more down the middle. Okay, so now let's take a look at this one more time. We're going to see this, and we got a tail of basically 2 clubs, a puller right down the groove. And then we got this one, which was a little bit tighter, a little bit more predictable, going down that way. Okay, so we saw what they did. That wasn't unexpected. Let's go talk about who they fit and how much we liked it. Alrighty, so the regular Smoke AI did exactly what we thought it was going to do. It was going to go further by about 5 yards, because there's that much difference in the loft. What's surprising was the HL was a little bit tighter in its landing. However, it was to my inside quite a bit. All right, and it's a lot of offset, and we figured that was going to happen. I did like the feel of the club. The club looks really good at address. Both of them actually do. There's nothing that would take your interest or your eye away from trying to hit the golf ball. That's really, when we look at golf clubs at address, we look down at it, but are we looking at the golf club, or are we looking at the golf ball, or both? And normally there might be some design criteria that you like that maybe gets your attention and takes it away from what you should be doing, and that's swinging the club. In this particular instance, it does not. The top lines are very muted. There's a definite notice in the offset in the club where the other one is not, and with my tendencies to pull, a less offsetted club will work very, very well. I would like to have seen a little bit tighter, and that could have easily have been because of the shaft that I was using. However, I know I didn't hit a lot of solid shots, and you got to see that one I cleaned out to 180. That was just a crazy shot, but the ones that I were hitting hard into the turf were finishing in the high 160s, so not bad. The same thing is true for the high launch. The high launch was not as far, but you dig into the turf and you weren't losing a lot from a mishit, right? From a mishit. So all in all, does the face sweeter from all those different spots? Well, number one, I'm not trying to hit it from everywhere. I'm just trying to get it into the middle of the face. Obviously, as an amateur golfer, I'm not going to do that, but you know, around the center, I'm not going to try and hit a toe shot. Why? But if you're into the toe quite a bit, maybe this would be something that you want to look for. So who do I think these are for? The AI Smoke, less offset, smaller sole design, very strong in its loft angles, right? So if you're looking for distance, certainly this is the club to look for. If you can control your swing and you're not flaring it right and left either way dramatically, this could work. If you're a guy that doesn't take a super heavy divot, this one will work. If you like more of a player's club at address, you'll very much like this club. That's the AI Smoke. So the HL, or the high launch. So the high launch, a little longer in its blade length, a little more offset, a little bit wider sole, a little bit weaker in its loft, so you can get the club up in the air. The idea is that you hit the club higher, it travels a little further as opposed to hitting a bullet and falling, and you're relying on roll, okay? Who's this for? Well, guys with maybe a little slower swing speeds, guys that tend to hood the ball a little bit. With the offset, maybe you have a problem with your fade. Guys that take very large divots or actually get in the turf, almost chopping, like chopping wood kind of stuff. This club would work very, very well. To the point, I think I've set a record with this in that we put it in my fitting cart, and within an hour I'd already sold a set of the high launch. And it actually outperformed the Smoke because this golfer fit into the high launch, not into the Smoke, okay? Then you got the Max Fast. So the Fast is basically a lighter version of that. It's going to try and be longer, it's going to be lighter, and in order to get swing speed. So if you're that type of person, you're going to want to either have a flattened swing plane, right? A swing plane, or you're going to want to get a proper length so you can get it. Now, again, like I said earlier, this is for maybe a beginning golfer whose muscles aren't quite developed just yet, that tweener, that person that's just getting into golf that wants to see Callaway in their bag, or the older golfer whose swing speed has declined and they're trying to find a little bit more speed in their club and with lighter equipment, okay? So hopefully you like what you saw. Put some comments down in the show notes and we'll answer them as best we can. Don't forget our live stream on Mondays at 17:30 or 5:30 p.m. and Eastern Standard Time for the same thing that we're talking about here. And as always, let's see your scores go low.